Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and today we're going to be working on getting some taillights mounted on the ruined Roadster. So last video we worked on getting the headlight bar and headlights all mounted. Super happy with how that came out. Looks awesome. So what we're going to try and do is do a similar idea in the rear, do something that's sort of subdued and very much like you would have seen in some of the old photos, the dry lakes or post-World War II era type hot rods. So what we're using is some NOS 37 Ford taillights, and then I'm going to make up some stands for it, try and keep it nice and tight against the frame, and get some little floating 37 taillights mounted on this thing. So we're going to pull it inside and get started. Alright, so I got all four of the little base plates made. I got this one mounted up on the taillight section, and then I got the other plate mounted on the frame rail, and all the holes line up. Everything seems pretty good. So now I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do is the actual placement of the taillight. At first, I would have loved to maybe put it right on the side of the frame rail, but I quickly realized that in order to make that work, we almost would have had to weld the pad to the bottom of this, and I just wasn't really happy with it. So I started to think of an idea of how it could have maybe been done, or another look rather. So I was thinking of maybe putting a piece of round bar stock that I heated and bent and came up and had it sitting, put like a 90 on it. So kind of like a subdued version of what a stock taillight stand would have been, but much smaller and sleeker, I guess you could say. So what I started thinking of doing was taking some solid round bar stock, putting it in the lathe, cutting a section, putting it in the lathe, boring through the center so that we could run our wiring through the bottom of this, through that, but then I needed to have a 90 in it, so I would have had to heat and bend it without trying to crimp it too much. And then right before that I was putting some material away, and I found randomly a piece of thin wall tubing that I think was off of some kind of, I don't know what engine, but some sort of like heater hose type tubing here. And good thing I'm a scrounger, like all old car people. I feel like you have a bin of just I might use it someday type scrap metal, or metal I should say. And this is like the same diameter of the solid bar stock I was going to use, but it's already been drilled, obviously, because it's tubing, and it already had some 90s built into it that was done already. And since I only need a really short piece, I cut a section off already. So I cut the 190 and I left a little leg on it, and then I'm going to trim it down from there. So the idea is that we can drill a hole in this bottom base plate that matches up with the hole that's in the bottom of the 37 taillight, and then we can mount this to it. Carefully with the TIG welder, I can TIG weld this to the base plate and then obviously to that. And then that'll give us our stand that we can kind of still take apart. We can fish the wiring through. I'm thinking I might carefully drill a hole in the spreader bar here so that the wiring can kind of come out and sneak through the frame rail. That's my current thought. So I was originally going to put it like this, but I think now with putting a little 90 on it might be a little cooler. So obviously I don't want it sticking out way out in the middle of nowhere like this. Sure, you could do that. It would be pretty simple. It would definitely be more visible, but I want something that's going to sit in and be a little, tighter to the body, but still visible. So what I was thinking is putting the short little 90 here and then having it upright, and then putting the tail light. That's exaggerated. Obviously I made this piece too long, but something like that here. So, but I want to put it like way down so it's maybe sitting, I don't know, just barely above the frame rail. So something maybe kind of like this is the idea. So it'll be out, it'll be up a little bit. You'll definitely be able to see it, but it's still kind of tucked in, inside the wheel there. So I think it'll still be subdued and not stick out. Obviously being painted black is also going to help with it, then it's not going to stand out. So what I'm going to do is cut this down. I'm going to slowly keep trimming this down until I get a height that I like. But I think we're going to almost trim most of it away. And then once we get a height we like, then we can drill the hole in the bottom of here. And then I'll need some extra hands. I'm working today on a Sunday. I don't have any help. So I'll need to kind of get all this cut. And then when I have some extra hands, we'll be able to set this down on, and I can get it tacked in place where it's going to need to be. So I got a little bit of test fitting still, but very soon we're going to be able to start tack welding stuff and see how it's going to look.
Done?
Done.
Yeah, I got there like 8 o'clock.
Very nice. Not think about it.
Yep. Those are cool looking lights.
What's that?
I said, them's are cool looking lights.
Yeah. Paint's a little beat up on them, but I don't think when it's all polished up nice.
Oh, it's gonna look. Yeah, the paint that's left is in nice shape. It's coming up nice. I think.
Yeah, I mean you can see scratches on the frame and stuff, so I figured they all look like the car was put together at the same time.
Yeah, not gonna look out of place.
All right, so we got the taillights all mounted up after we let the paint dry on the brackets. We've been using this gloss black lacquer, like automotive paint we found. A buddy turned me onto it, and it's a nice match to like the black lacquer used on the frame and all of that stuff on these cars. So put all that on, mounted everything up. We gave a quick shine like with this ceramic sealer that we've been using on some of the old paint. It brought the paint back just like the headlights on the taillights. They are new old stock taillights that just have shelf wear, so it kind of blended in a lot of the scratches and shined them back up, and it kind of matches the car. The car is not perfect, it's very nice, but it is an older restoration, so there's little scratches and chips and things. So the taillights, we want everything to kind of look like this car could have been built just like this many years ago, and then just kind of put away and stored nicely. So everything kind of flows together. They're very subdued, which was the goal. They sit there that you're going to be able to see them. Moon's going to walk in front of the camera as usual, and and they look the part. It's definitely something you would have seen. 37 taillights are kind of like iconic taillights used on 32s, especially 32 Roadsters in this style, and this was just my take on it. So we were able to make something that is going to stand out, and you can see it when you're driving, and also it is not sticking way out and looking goofy, kind of like stock mounts would have looked like. So we didn't do any of the wiring yet. There's a piece of the original wiring still sticking out, so we have to go through and do all that. But for now, the taillights are mounted, the headlights are mounted, all that stuff's done. Now Steve can start working on doing some of the wiring to kind of complete the 12-volt conversion. And we're also going to add turn signals to this thing. That was something that was discussed in the comments. People are saying that's not period correct to run turn signals. We're kind of bending the rules. Yes, it might not be as common, but turn signals came out in the late 30s, early 40s, just like the style of the car that we're building. So it's not really anything that wouldn't have been used, but we definitely want to use it mainly because on modern streets we need to use turn signals because people are idiots, and even though you can use hand signals, they don't know what that is these days. So we're going to be putting turn signals on it, so we're going to integrate them into the 37 taillights. We have a vintage kind of like 40s era turn signal stalk that we'll be using. Steve just has to go through and kind of restore that and fix all the wiring in, and then we'll get all that mounted up. But another nice little step on this car. This is the beauty of having multiple projects. This car is a lot of the fun, quick little like 1-2 day projects right now. So it's kind of a nice one to do to fill in some of the other projects that are taking a lot longer. And that's how we keep all this content going. So let me know what you think of the 37 taillight stands that we did on the ruined Roadster. Thanks guys, catch you later.